Dear fellow Mitpalalim at the Bet Garden community, a good Erev Shabbos to everyone. We're about to go into Shabbos as well as go into Yontiv on Sunday night. And I thought it would be a great time to speak about the one thing that we change on Shabbos morning that we don't change on a weekday, even if it's a Yontiv. And that is that right after we say Baruch Hu and the bracha of Yotzer Or Uvarei Choshech, we say HAKOL YODUCHA on Shabbos. But on all the weekdays, including if there's a Yontiv, we say Hami'ir La'aretz. I'd like to understand, why do we change it on Shabbos? And the answer, I believe, is reflected in a halacha that we all fulfill on Shabbos, and that is the halacha of not petitioning God on Shabbos. The Gemara says in Masechet Brachot that ultimately we should have had the normal Amidah that we have all week on Shabbos, namely 3 brachos at the beginning, 3 brachos at the end that don't change, and the middle 13 that are requests. However, says the Gemara, we don't do that because even though we should, Rabbananhu delo itrichu mushum kvod Shabbat. The rabbis didn't want to bother us because of the honor of Shabbos. How you interpret that statement is a machlokes. The basic interpretation probably is that if you go through the petitions over Shabbos, then ultimately it's going to bother you in terms of time. Namely, the Shmoneh Esrei is going to take longer. Instead of 7 blessings, as we do in the Amidah of Shabbos, you'll have 19. However, if you look at the Yerushalmi, it doesn't say that you're obligated to say these blessings, but the rabbis didn't want to bother you, but rather, and I quote, Asor litfor tzorchav b'Shabbat, you're not allowed to petition on Shabbos, literally an isser, an actual prohibition, and explains the Korban Eda, which is one of the Perushim on the Yerushalmi. The part of the Shabbos experience is to come in and to say what's done is done. I want to now enjoy the fruits of my labor of the last 6 days and not think about what I lack. If you say the 13 blessings of petition, you're going to start saying, I lack wisdom, there's a lot of people that need a refuah shleimah that I'm going to think about, and many other things that are still needs, but it's not part of the Shabbos experience. The Shabbos experience for 25 hours is a bubble in which you enjoy what you have and not think about what you lack. In his words, if you start petitioning God, you're going to start saying, I lack this, I lack that, and you're going to start worrying about what you lack. Ultimately, this is actually a Rashi on Chumash. Many people say it in the Kiddush on Shabbos morning. Sheshet yamim ta'avod ve'asita kol melachtecha. For 6 days you shall work and do all the 39 forbidden acts of Shabbos. Says Rashi, Geshetavo Shabbat, when Shabbos comes, yeh be'einecha ki'ilu melachtecha asuya. Even though you know that for every Shabbos there's a Motzei Shabbos, at the end of the day, on Shabbos itself, you have to feel like everything is done, what's done is done, and let's enjoy what we have, not think about what we lack. So, the bottom line is, we don't petition God on Shabbos in the Amidah, either because we don't want to bother a Jew with a long Amidah, or because it's actually forbidden, it goes against the experience of Shabbos. This will explain why on Motzei Shabbos, in the very first of the 13 blessings of petition, Atachonein lahadam da'at, that's where we put in Havdalah. As the Yerushalmi says, true to its point of view that it's forbidden on Shabbos, that you're not allowed to do malacha before you make Havdalah, as well, and I quote, Asolo la'adam litvor tzrachav achi havdil. You're also not allowed to petition God until you say Havdalah. So therefore, before we go into the blessings of petition, we literally say Havdalah in the very first of the blessings of petition. Now that we said Havdalah, we can say the 19 blessings of petition. If this is true, we can understand the Meiri. The Meiri comes along and says, the davening on Shabbos is not about petitioning God for what you lack, ella, rather, litfilah shel shebach vehoda'ah. It is a prayer of praise and thanksgiving. In the words of the famous Raavad, aval tfilat Shabbat, the davening of Shabbos, she'eino ella hoda'ot, it's just thanksgiving. Now we can understand why we change it on Shabbos. What do we say? HAKOL YODUCHA, VEHAKOL YESHBACHOCHA. Everybody thanks you. Everybody praises you. There is not one day of the week that is more vivid than Shabbos. Now, mind you, even during the week, we do say 3 blessings of praise at the beginning. from Baruch Atah through HAKOL HaKadosh. 3 blessings of thanksgiving at the end from Modim Anachnu Lach till HaMevarechet Amo Yisrael B'Shalom. But it's overshadowed by 13 blessings of petition. But on Shabbos, where indeed you only have thanksgiving and praise, therefore Shabbos is indeed a day where HAKOL YODUCHA, VEHAKOL YESHBACHUCHA, VEHAKOL YORUIN KADOSH KaHashem. And then after we say Keladon, it makes sense that we say Shevach, Yekar, Ugdula, VeChavod, praise, greatness, etc., etc. Yitnu lekel melech yotzer kol. We give to the king who created everything, because hamanchil menucha la'amo Yisrael b'kedushato b'yom Shabbat Kodesh. Because he's given us rest 1 day a week. 1 day a week in which we don't go to God and talk about what we lack, but rather enjoy what we have and thank God and praise God for what we have. And if this is all correct, then as we go into Shabbos, I believe that the experience that we should all feel, the inner emotion that we should all prevail in our homes and in our shuls is one of, let's enjoy what we have, not think about what we lack.
Wie heilig bist die Shabbos, wie lechtig bist die Shabbos, wie sie ist bist die Shabbos. Ay shevach yevekor gdilu, oy bechol voy titni, no mo kan melech yotzakol. Shevach yevekor gdilu, oy bechol voy titni.